We've just patched Echoes of the End multiple times. One, for critical issues. Second, there was a performance patch. And third, a combat patch that altogether will vastly improve the player experience. And in this video, I'll tell you how and why. But why didn't we just make it that way from the start? When you release a video game, no matter how much you test it, something will always slip through, especially with a team our size. Players are incredibly inventive. They will find things or experience the game in ways you couldn't predict. So, when Echoes of the End launched, we knew there would be things to fix, and over the past week, we have been working around the clock to incorporate your feedback, releasing patches, and making sure that our game is the best it can be. This is Myrkur Games. We're a small game development studio in Reykjavik, Iceland, and we've just released our first ever video game, Echoes of the End. Let's start with the one that hurt the most, shader stuttering. We are honestly really bummed out about this one. On PC, in the first chapter of the game, players experienced this intense freeze that felt like a performance hitch. Suddenly, 0 FPS for a few seconds, and that really sucks. We were left scratching our heads because the game is quite performant on our machines, and they are not super top-end state-of-the-art machines or anything. We can't afford that. So we looked into it, and apparently what was happening is a handful of heavy shaders were compiling in runtime. That's not supposed to happen. It was only a handful, but that was enough to be frustrating as hell. It leaves players wondering why their graphic cards can't handle it. When it's not even a graphic issue, it's a processor issue. And there is no magic tech that compiles a heavy shader in a millisecond. Thing is, when we were recording gameplay for the shader compiler, we were playing the game like devs, not like people who just bought and downloaded a game and were looking around. So as a result, you were all unfortunate enough to experience those hitches on launch. But we fixed it. The offending shaders have been tagged, and they now compile on launch or load, like they should. That change alone makes the whole game feel smoother. And honestly, it's the one fix we really wish had been there at launch. The next big thing we heard about was our combat system. Now there's something we could fine-tune forever. In particular, we heard about buttons being unresponsive, and this one was a bit of a head-scratcher because as far as we could tell, they weren't. There wasn't input lag or anything, but what was going on is a difference of expectations. You see, we had decided the game should require players to commit to their actions. So once you start swinging a sword, you can't cancel out of it immediately. You've committed. But it turns out that players really weren't enjoying that. They were coming in with an expectation that they could cancel out of attacks and out of animations, since many similar games let you do that. So we took a good long look at the feedback coming in and we changed it. Now you can dodge even if you're already swinging your sword. If you shift or block while in an animation, it queues up, and you can parry while targeting someone with shift. You can exit out of a parry slow-mo by making a follow-up attack. All of this makes it feel like a whole new combat system. And credits where it's due to you guys, because this feels way more responsive. And now we've also introduced hit lag on all enemies. Before, enemies would either stagger or play an additive animation when hit. The problem is that Rin has hit lag every time she hits an enemy. So enemies that would only play an additive animation would simply continue their swing, resulting in players often getting hit before being able to dodge or parry after landing their own hit. Introducing the hit lag on enemies ensures that when you land a hit, you'll have time to dodge and parry, all while making the hits feel that much more punchy. And there is so much more. All in all, it's a massive change, and this fix is all in today's combat patch. So if you're waiting for the combat fixes or the stutter fixes, it's out now. That's the two biggest ones out of the way, but there have been a collection of small fixes across the game. Like the first boss, Skuggi. He wasn't giving every player their skill point reward. That might sound like a small bug, but you cannot progress in the game without unlocking that heavy attack. So we fixed that immediately. We also nerfed him. He was a little bit too aggressive, and we've added some pauses in between his hits, which should make him feel more like a manageable boss. Zara had a different issue, her shield. It wasn't clearly communicated towards players what the shield did and how it worked. So we improved the UX, added subtle VFX and sounds to increase the clarity and improve the fight. Abram had a tendency to pause or get lost. I don't know, the old man likes the scenic route. We reworked his pathfinding, smoothed out combat transitions, and made sure he stays with you where he belongs, by your side. Don't worry, he's still Abram, just less likely to abandon you. Oh, and people didn't like the jump animation, so we improved it significantly to match more closely with the realistic tone of the game. We also made a few other adjustments, small things like enlarging subtitles for readability, smoothing out some transitions, fixing some invisible walls, and tightening up a few environmental details. None of these are flashy, but together they polish the game and hopefully keep you immersed. Small things that make a big difference all together. Like there was this puzzle in Chapter 3 that had a small UX issue that we fixed. If you're interested in the full changelogs, they're available on Steam. So that's the story of our first few patches. They weren't about reinventing the game, but about fixing the things that pulled you out of the experience and making sure your experience in EMA feels as seamless as possible. We think the heart of the game is being immersed in that action-adventure experience you'd have at your friend's place while playing the classic adventure games of old, like Prince of Persia or Tomb Raider back in the day. So it was important for us to get these fixes in when they were pointed out. And we'll keep listening and keep improving, because a game doesn't stop evolving the day it launches. That's just the beginning. Other than that, the game is out. We've been reading the reviews and we're feeling great. The critical reception has been beyond our wildest expectations, and we're so happy to see that there's a lot of love for this game out there already. Yeah, some stuff we had to fix, but nothing fundamental, all simple patches. But we're here working on just that, getting the bugs out of your way to create a smooth and immersive cinematic experience for all of you. If you've got feedback, let us know via the contact form on our website, and we'll go and do our uttermost to help you out. That's it for now. If you were thinking about getting the game, now is the perfect time. If you want to see more of how the game plays, check out this video here. And if you want to hear more stories from behind the scenes, click here. If you've seen both of those, then subscribe and you'll be notified when we release new videos. Until next time, we'll see you in EMA.